Last time I checked, I was still a kid. Childish, childish. This all freaks me out a bit. Childish, oh shit. How can I parent when I'm still a kid? Childish, oh shit. Who the hell decided I was ready for this?
Welcome to this one's Childish.
This one is Childish.
You know, you and I both do other podcasts, and, you know, this one feels different. They all feel like very different. You know, it's like a different energy, different chemistry. And I think Childish might be my favorite.
Oh, thank you. I always feel super energized when I'm done with Childish. In fact, I am either recording an episode of Alison, Rosen is Your New Best Friend today or in 2 days. And I was like, I want to do it today because I'm going to be coming off of my Childish high. And I can just bring that. I can import that into Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend.
Yeah, it's like doing an 8-ball of Coke when you're like 21. You can take on the world afterwards.
I always felt, not that I know what you're talking about, but I was remembering recently that feeling of like, did I just grow 2 inches? I feel taller.
Yeah, I remember feeling like I would do Coke and I felt like I could walk into any room and be the mayor of that room within 5 minutes.
But the thing is, and I think we should definitely mention this, you think that, but it actually just turns you into an annoying asshole. Or do you think it actually turned you into a mayor?
Oh, no, you're 100% right.
Yeah. You're
a complete asshole because who wants to be around a guy who's running for mayor anyway?
You're right. You're right. I feel like most people who run for mayor probably lose friends in the process because it's like he was cool until he decided that all he cared about was his campaign, that no one can build a fence higher than this or whatever it is.
And that you have to brag for 6 months or however long you run for mayor. You have to constantly talk about yourself almost in the third person. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like when you listen to certain famous disc jockeys or if you listen to Donald Trump, it starts to become this thing where they're just bragging.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Do you think that it's changed our cultural tolerance for bragging? Because I was brought up to be modest, and I think I've gone through life with this idea that, like, you be modest and let other people discover what's special about you. And I feel like at some point everyone decided, like, no one has time for that. Now you have to be immodest. You have to tell everyone what's special about you because they're just talking. Everyone's just focused on what's special about themselves. So if you want anyone to know, you have to be the one to convey it.
I don't know, because I can't relate. When I was growing up, I was always treated so special that I didn't know about promoting myself. And again, I don't want this to sound like I'm bragging, but there was a certain glow that I had, and I was magnanimous. Is that the word?
Well, magnanimous means like very generous of spirit.
Yes. I have an amazing vocabulary as well. I took this test, and it's a neurological test, and they asked me to just repeat 5 words, and it was ball, cat, and I did unbelievable. The doctors couldn't even believe it. They said nobody does that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
I mean, even now, I still remember ball and cat. And it's like a lot of people don't remember even one of those things in order.
Speaking of that interview that you're talking about, the Trump on Fox News bragging about his performance on the cognitive test that you're only given if they suspect you have a cognitive or neurological deficit.
Yeah.
I actually felt, and I tweeted this, I felt sorry for him watching it, and I don't want to feel sorry for that person.
Yeah.
But there was something so sad and like childlike, I guess, about the way he was bragging about having been able to remember a few words.
Yeah.
I don't know. It made me feel yucky.
Yeah. Well, listen, let's not get into politics because people listen to Childish because they have issues with their children, not because they need political guidance. And one thing we got shit for was that we gave advice about child CPR, which the stakes can't be higher.
Yeah, they're so high that I was like, let's not be in the giving advice about child CPR game. Let's just be in the like talking about sex and apparently cocaine. But you said, no, we have a responsibility. But can I just say, we started the show and we haven't even said who we are. We've said it's Childish. But for all they know, I'm Whitney Cummings and you're Brad Pitt.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I'm Alison Rosen.
I'm Brad Pitt. I get that a lot.
Do you? Oh, that's part of the like the way you were treated growing up because you're so special.
It was, they said, when people said they pitied me, I realize now it was Brad Pitt. They Brad Pitted me. So anyway, infants, let's just do infant CPR because that's what we were specifically talking about.
Okay.
And the answer was not go get a car battery and stick it on the chest. That was an episode of
Car talk?
Car talk. So what you do is very simple. You, first of all, you got to make sure that the kid you shake the kid a little bit, see if he's conscious. And then you want to take 2 fingers and put them on the breastbone, like right wherever the nipples are, go right below the nipples, like at where the ribs come together, just above that.
Okay.
Take 2 fingers, push straight down. You want to push down about 1.5 inches down. And you want to do it about 100 times a minute, 120 times a minute, basically like 2 per second. Like boom, 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 boom. And make sure that the chest then comes back out and recoils to its full length after each compression. And as far as breathing, as far as giving them breath, then you should do like a minute of this. And then you, like with an adult, you pinch the nose and you blow through the mouth. With infants, you cover this, since it's so small, you cover the nose and mouth with your mouth. And you give them 2 breaths. Now, remember how big a baby's lungs are. So it should just be like a puff, just 2 puffs, and then right back to the chest, to the compressions.
Thank you, Greg.
And you want to give those compressions for, now, I'm sorry, should only give them for about 20 or 30 seconds, then do the breath, then back to it. All right, enough. Good luck.
But also someone wrote in and was like, this stuff changes so fast. You guys need to take a class if you want to be up on it. And I feel like that's advice that I'm going to pass along to everyone because they do, like, you know, the gist, but basically whether you do breasts, whether you don't do breasts, all the specific protocol keeps changing. So
right. But the key is, before you do anything, if there's somebody else there, get them to call 911.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. And then, and also when you're gonna breathe in them, you may lift their chin up, not by the soft part, by the chin itself. You want to lift it up so that it's even, not back, but even, just like that.
That's gonna work well on audio.
Take the forehead. Push the forehead back a little bit. I guess what I'm saying is push the chin up until you're at what you're normal if you were standing, like that kind of, that distance.
Like chin and chest is like a 90. Well, you want to go slightly further than 90 degrees.
I don't know. I'd say 90 degrees is about right.
Okay. See, I thought you tipped the head back a little bit. Just make sure the airway's open.
Yeah, because if you push it back, you're going to close the airway. You want the airway to be as open as possible.
As possible.
So you want just like erect.
You want to make the chest erect and the airway. Listen, Greg, despite all what just happened, people really like our show. They like Childish, and they've left us a couple nice comments. More than a couple, but I've selected a couple that I would like to share. I know. Listen, when you grew up charismatic, dynamic, magnanimous, so I know that it makes you pitiful. It makes you uncomfortable. Let me brag for you. And this one is from a bunch of letters, Woebegone. Longtime fan of Alison, and I've always enjoyed Greg whenever he was a guest on other pods. Greg is the co-host Alison deserves. Happy for them both.
Hey.
I don't know who that's complimenting or
both
insulting.
of us. That's what I like about it so much.
Happy for them both and happy for me. So fun to listen to. I'm in the trenches with two littles. Commiserating with Alison is cathartic and hopeful as I look forward to the future with Greg's take on life with grown kids. So thank you for that one. And then here's one that is, it almost seems like it would be less than 5 stars, but it's 5 stars, and I think it's celebrating us. And this is from Vista Ding, and it says, "Libs with issues!" ! If listening to people who came from affluent houses complain about their parents, this is your show. Parentheses, Alison's dad was a doctor, and Greg's a radio personality. Lots of talks about shrinks and taking meds. Alison will talk about Pomona College and dropping a deuce. Woody Allen would think Fitzdog is a weird dad. This is the new norm. Listen to them on how to raise kids. But I mean, 5 stars.
What's a lib? Liberal?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's so weird how much of entertainment skews liberal these days. And when I say skews, when you go late night TV, that's almost like far left. Mm-hmm. And then you have some people I know that have shifted pretty far right. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of people in the middle. So I like to think we're pretty in the middle with people.
I don't know who you're talking about. And I don't consider myself in the middle.
I don't mean that we are politically liberal. I mean that that the show doesn't really force you to take a side.
No, it doesn't. We keep that to ourselves except for when we don't.
Right. And I think that children transcend politics. Like, if once you have a kid, you don't have time to sit there reading Reddit posts and, and talking for hours to friends when ultimately, let's be honest. All right, let's talk about it.
Okay.
If you're going to be a newsie and you're going to be like somebody that digests, 2 periodicals a day plus spends an hour and a half on websites, for what? Unless you're going to actually go out and do something, which 90% of them don't, you're wasting your time. You know how you're going to vote. You know exactly how you're going to vote. So it's not like you're informing yourself for the upcoming election. It's just entertainment like anything else.
Yes, although I feel like that's like a broad use of the term entertainment. So I'll take my husband, for example. When I met him, he was kind of conservative, and I've always been liberal. And I actually was sort of fascinated over the fact that I was falling in love with someone who was a Republican or was conservative. That was confusing to me. And then in the course of us being together, but not because of me, but he has swung so far left that he is, I think he identifies as a democratic socialist at this point. Like, he's further left than I am. And he spends so much time consuming news and politics. And I think for him, it is this feeling that, like, it's this anxiety that he has to be up on all the ways in which our world is getting super fucked up, because to him, and this is where the kids come in, he's so worried about what world we're leaving our kids.
I know, but what is he doing to change that?
Just worrying about it.
Right.
Worrying about it and I mean, trying to change people's minds, but I don't know that I don't know how effective that is. I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I don't think that he would consider it entertainment. I think he would consider it, this is like my duty as a concerned person.
So what did you guys do with that Ronald Reagan statue on your front yard? Like, it's
in our garage, and when it's safe again to have a yard sale, we're gonna...
Did you wait till the middle of the night and then go out there with a rope and pull it down?
Yes, it's in the ocean right now.
Yeah, my wife comes from a family. Her dad was literally a communist. He was Jewish, and he grew up in Brooklyn. And I guess Russian Jews, and his parents were socialists, and he became very radicalized, and he actually spent time in Nicaragua with the Contras.
Mm-hmm.
And then, wait, which was the Contras, the freedom fighters? There was the Sandinistas. No, he was a Contra.
Okay.
He supported the Contras. And then he spent time in Cuba, and he knew Fidel Castro. And when Castro came to New York to speak to the UN, he invited her father to dinner.
Wow.
And he was a university professor at Bard College, which is a very liberal college. And he wrote a book that was anti-Zionist, which did not go over well at a mostly Jewish school whose, their whole alumni are Jewish and very actively Jewish. And he was fired.
Oh,
from a chair. He had a chair at the school, and he was fired over it.
Where'd he sit? I'm sorry, that was so dumb. I can't help it.
We're trying to talk about some serious shit, some politics. He's dead, Alison.
So then I guess he has no need for a chair. Have you seen Unorthodox on Netflix?
I couldn't watch it.
Really? I thought it was so good.
I was so disturbed by how some people have to grow up and have to live.
Yeah. So this is the story, and it's based on a true story of a woman in a Hasidic Jewish community in Brooklyn, and she escapes the community. It's only 4 episodes. I thought it was so well done and really kind of like haunting but engrossing. I could have watched 100 more episodes. Now, I was just listening to the woman that it's based on, Deborah Feldman. I was listening to her on a podcast. I'm all about it. That's my entertainment. But
how do you think a show about Jewish people managed to get on mainstream media in Hollywood?
I think it was a diversity programming. So you couldn't do it. You're too disturbed.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on my mood. There's some days where I just feel like, like a documentary about orphans in sub-Saharan Africa is something that I feel like I need to know about this. And I do watch 60 Minutes every week, and a lot of that is kind of depressing reality checks, like real slaps in the face about, do you even know what's going on in the world?
Yeah.
And I guess I was just in that mood. I'll go back and watch it because I hear it's great.
My
wife loved it.
It's so well done. I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
Should we do some news, Greg?
God, let's rush into it already.
Time for the news.
I'm sorry, have I not given you enough topical foreplay?
Well, we already said the word erect once in this podcast, so this one comes from the journal Pediatrics. Children infrequently transmit COVID-19 to others or to adults, and that many schools, provided they follow appropriate social distancing guidelines and take into account rates of transmission in their community, can and should reopen in the fall. Households of 39 Swiss children infected with COVID-19, contact tracing revealed that only 3 was a child that suspected index case. Well, whatever. In French, a boy with COVID-19 exposed to 80 classmates at 3 schools. None contracted it. In South Wales, 9 infective students and 9 staff across 15 schools exposed a total of 735 students and 128 staff to COVID-19. Only 2 secondary infections resulted, 1 transmitted by an adult to a child. So, look, there's a lot of information out there. Some of it's anecdotal. Some of it is based on studies. Obviously, we're talking about in the hundreds here, not in the thousands. So it has to be looked at with a grain of salt. But at the same time, almost every study that I've seen come in has shown a much, much lower of transmission among children than among adults.
Right. I forget where the cutoff is. I want to say it's around 13.
Yeah, I think it's even younger, like 11 or 12.
Okay. Where after that point, the transmission is similar to adults. I know I've thought about this because I've also heard from a number of sources both articles and my mom's doctor said this, that transmission in little kids is it's very rare. So then I was thinking, okay, well, given that, what are my thoughts about sending Elliot to preschool? Because as of now, we're not sending him. And then I decided I'm just going to stay the course of not sending him right now, because even though maybe he couldn't transmit it, then you're still encountering teachers and parents. I mean, I think if you need to send them, that's a separate decision. But for Elliot, it really is just for his enrichment. It's not something that allows us to work. So I'm more comfortable not sending him now. At the same time, Daniel actually, my liberal husband, is the one who pointed out, like, it would be good for him to be around kids his own age.
No, it's critical at this age. And I totally support you in not sending him. But this is a time where learning online is very ineffective. I mean, if they're in high school, it's a little bit more academic. But at Elliot's age, it is very social.
Right. I mean, so he's 3. I'm glad that he's not yet in kindergarten. I think that grade school would be a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
In terms of what to do. But speaking of socialization, I have a news story. This is from U.S. News, we'll report, saying that studies have shown that if a family with young children has a dog, it makes for more well-adjusted kids. Because a lot of people will wait till their kids get a little older to have a dog. And I think quite possibly it's because they're already cleaning up a lot of poop. They don't want to bring another poop machine in. But a study has found that preschoolers with dogs at home had fewer problems with their peers or other behavior problems compared to youngsters without a family dog. Tots who walked and played with their dog more often were likely to be more social too. So compared to children who didn't have dogs at home, researchers found that those with a family pooch were 23% less likely to have problems with emotions and social interactions, 34% more likely to practice kind behaviors like sharing, 30% less apt to engage in antisocial behaviors, 40% less likely to have issues interacting with other kids.
That's huge. That's not small numbers.
No, I know. I remember before Owen was here thinking, kind of wondering, will Elliot adjust to having a sibling more easily, because it's almost as if he has a sibling now with our dog.
Yeah.
Because he was, having to negotiate sharing and just another being in his space and someone else that gets affection. I don't know. We had Wendy before we had him. So, and I've always thought the relationships that they have with her is very sweet. So everyone go get a dog, I think is what we're saying. Get
a dog or have a weird uncle sleep on the couch, just as long as there's somebody else you're giving attention to in the house.
I feel like a weird uncle that sleeps on the couch is exactly what I would go: dog, then cat, then weird uncle.
Yeah. I had a weird uncle, and he only slept at our house. I had a weird uncle on my father's side and a weird uncle on my mother's side. My father only had one sibling, and it was his brother. And he was a Skid Row alcoholic. Like, literally, Skid Row, Bowery, the Bowery.
Oh, yeah, sure.
He lived on Bowery in a welfare motel because he drank so much.
Okay.
And my father supported him his whole life. And he was a cook, which is a big drunky job. A lot of cooks are drunks. And he used to come up to our house like, I can remember maybe 2 or 3 times in my life that he was actually allowed in our house. He was that bad. And
what did he do?
He was just a fucking drunk. He was a cook.
Fall down drunk. Okay.
Yeah, he was.
No. I know what he did, but I mean, what was the fear of having him at your house was what?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I was a kid. I wasn't making the decisions. I thought he was a good guy. He always bought us biographies. He bought us books. And then I have another uncle who became like born again. And but my mother had a lot of kids in her family, so he moved out to the West Coast, and the rest of my family's on the East Coast. He was a good guy also. He sends me Christmas cards, but they're very religious.
Has he tried to convert you?
No.
That's nice.
I think he's just quietly ashamed, probably because I wrote that book.
Are you close with all of your mom's siblings?
Yes.
Really?
Very close, extremely
nice.
close. And all my cousins. My father only had his brother who never had kids, and and my father had no aunts and uncles. So I was me and my brother, the only Fitzsimmonses. My brother hasn't had kids. He's probably not going to have kids. So my son Owen is the last person with the Fitzsimmons name.
Look at that.
So a lot of parents try to teach their teenage sons use a condom. Not my family. Spread that shit out there.
We also joke about teaching them to have kids young because we are older parents. So if we have any hopes of meeting our grandkids,
that's right.
You know, I talk so much about how I really believe in having kids after you've lived your life and when you're old enough to really want them and you've gone through therapy and blah, 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 blah. But I want them to do the exact opposite. Like the second they're able, they need to go have some kids so that we can meet them.
Yeah. And
it's about us.
It is about us. And I think that their lives will be ruined because having kids at a very young age is very difficult.
I know.
And you lose out on so much freedom. But we're not getting any younger.
Mm-mm.
My mom was 21 or 22 when she had my brother, and a year older than that when she had me. And I don't think it was good for her mental health.
No. My mom was 24 when she had me, and it was okay, but I still think an older mom can be better for many reasons.
Yeah.
She was still figuring so much stuff out herself, you know?
We got these people, I live in Venice Beach, which has become filled with these parents that come in, these people that made a lot of money, and now they're in their 50s and they're just having kids for the first time. And so they're like walking around the neighborhood, these guys with fucking gray hair pushing strollers, and these women with breast implants and a lot of like facial surgery. And there's always a nanny. Sometimes you'll even see the nanny pushing the kid while the parents walk behind them.
How are women in their 50s having kids? I mean, I
think they adopt them sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Should we do a voicemail?
Let's do highs and lows.
Okay.
Lows. You started last time.
You start.
So I'm going to start. I got to tell you about my meal I had last night. I think I told you, but did I tell you about my nephew was staying with us? It's my wife's brother's son, and he's a great guy. He grew up in New York City and then South Africa. Super tough dude. He's like he went out for the Navy SEALs and he got cut like right at the very end. He made it through like 12 hurdles of Navy SEALdom. He's big, and he played rugby in South Africa, and now he's working for this billionaire. The guy literally is a billionaire, and he's got a 17-room house, and he does security. Him and another guy. He's got full-time, 2 guys doing security at his mansion.
Wow.
I guess he's afraid of being kidnapped or something. And so because he's staying with us for who knows how long, months. And so
wait, the billionaire doesn't need him currently?
He doesn't sleep there.
Oh, I see.
The millionaire, he lives in San Diego with his wife, but this job is in LA. So like 3 or 4 nights a week he stays with us. And he feels like really guilty about staying with us and not paying rent, which is crazy. I keep telling him, fucking relax, your family. Mm-hmm. So every once in a while he brings home some really expensive steak. So last night he brought home 6 pounds of tri-tip, really good tri-tip.
Wow.
That was like pre-rubbed at the butcher shop. It's a really great butcher shop in Santa Monica. And we brought it home and we followed the Bobby Flay recipe where you sear it and then you take it off the grill on the rack up above and you indirect heat for like 40 minutes. And but it's still very red on the inside, and we fucking nailed it. We got it exactly right. And then my wife made this fucking salad that was so delicious. And so we had this meal, and I mean, the steak was just melting in my mouth. And we'd been looking forward to it for days because he said on Wednesday night, I'm going to get you guys, I'm going to bring home the steak. So I didn't eat all day. Mm-hmm. And then my daughter had just, for whatever reason, got it in her head that she was going to make key lime pie.
Oh, wow.
So she brings out this key lime pie, and I'm thinking, all right, this is going to be terrible because she's never made one before. And key lime pie can be really bad. And she brings it out, and I don't feel like I have any room left. We finished all the meat. And then and I cut into it, and I take a bite, and it is the most divine pie I've ever had in my life. And all my senses were tingling between the steak and this, and it finished, and I just wanted to kick back and smoke a cigar. I was so happy, and I was still like buzzing from it today. I still felt like a really great meal can do that. And then plus it was like a nice sit down with the family and with Rowan, and we laughed a lot and we talked a lot for a couple hours.
Wait, his name is Rowan?
His name is Rowan.
Rowan and Owen?
Rowan and Owen.
I love it.
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions. Tell me about this salad, please.
It was just, a couple different types of lettuce, but she just really nailed she makes her own dressing. And I think she put in like sunflower oil and a drop of sriracha and a bunch of other things. And then there was tomatoes, really ripe avocado, carrots, broccoli. It was just really good.
That sounds really good. This whole meal sounds really good. Okay, here's my questions. And I'm sorry if this was obvious. I was just having trouble tracking it. Okay, so Rowan is doing security for a billionaire who has a 17-room house in LA.
Yeah.
But he's staying with you. Where does he stay on the nights that he doesn't stay with you?
He lives in San Diego with his wife.
Oh, it's okay.
Right.
Got it. And then now, are you concerned about COVID? Like, what are your concerns about that with having someone in and out of your house?
Well, I don't think he's exposed to that many people, but you're right. I actually haven't thought about it that much. I mean, he goes to the guy's mansion, and I think he does interact with a few people there. And then he's back with his wife. She works from home, so I don't think he's exposed when he's down in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is something we didn't take into account.
I mean, it's worth a conversation.
Yeah.
But I don't know. At a certain point, you sort of have to just trust that the people around you have to make sure the people around you have the same values in terms of the risks they're taking.
Especially in California right now, because it's not good.
We have the most, as we record this, we have the most cases of any state.
Yes.
Remember when we were just crushing it at the beginning? Like New York was totally screwed, and everyone in California was feeling pretty good about themselves, even though I think my hunch was, well, it's because we're way more spread out. And look where we are now.
I know Gavin Newsom kind of blew it. He is the mayor.
Governor.
No, the governor. And I guess Eric Garcetti, the mayor, also. I think they said they were gonna relax things in stages, but you know how humans are. You give them an inch and they take a mile. Everybody just immediately jumped back in again.
I remember when we were moving to phase 2, I feel like I might have even talked about it on this show. It was so upsetting to me because I get like physically upset when I get confused, when something doesn't make sense to me. It bothers me a lot. I don't have a lot of tolerance for that. And I just felt like I don't understand why things are opening up. Nothing has changed. Nothing seems safer. Why are we doing this? Is it just because, remember, this was before the Black Lives Matter protests, and this was around the time of the I demand to be able to go shopping protests. Right. And I wondered, is it those protests? Is it the stuff going on at the beach that's making them decide to open up? I don't know. Anyway, it was a bad idea, and now we're fucked.
Yeah, we're kind of fucked, and they've already announced in California the public schools will all be closed for the fall. And in Santa Monica, where my kids are, they've closed the schools as well. So it's going to be a lot of kids' parents trying to figure out childcare. And it's a lot of the poor kids trying to figure out, usually they could get free lunch and even free breakfast at school, which some families literally depend on that.
How do you feel about not having JoJo go to school in the fall?
Well, we'll get to that because it's my low.
Oh, okay. All right. So my high. My high And I don't want to make you feel bad, Greg, but mine is actually about my children. Oh, no, yours was about your children because JoJo made a pie.
Yeah.
So Elliot is a little less than 3.5, and he still is very dependent on a pacifier. And if you follow me on social media, then you've probably seen pictures of him or videos where he has the pacifier. And people are in general are nice, but every now and then people have to let me know that that's a mistake that he still has it. And we've known that, it's his security object. It's his, now the term for like security blanket or security object is transitional object. And it's his transitional object when it brings him so much comfort to have it. So we've known for a while that eventually we're going to have to divorce him from this, but we've been putting it off because it's going to be hard. And also, when we took him to a dentist, we were braced for the dentist to just really come down hard on Daniel and me about how you have to get rid of this immediately. It's like changing the shape of his palate. But the dentist was very fine, very relaxed about it. Like, yeah, they usually give it up by 4. But at the same time, we've been feeling like we should probably do it. So we bought him a toy that we knew that he had been asking for. And one morning we just, I said to him, so he calls them uppies because the actual brand is Wubbanub. They're those little pacifiers that have a little stuffed animal on them. So he calls Wubbanub, got turned into Uppy. So he calls them as uppies. So I was like, honey, can you leave your uppies in bed today? And can you just have them at night? And he weirdly was very, like, he understood and he was fine with it. And I said, I'll give you, if you can do that, I'll give you a toy. And so I got out the toy and he put them in his room and he was very excited about the toy. It's the Doc McStuffins Pet Care Mobile Rescue Cart. And each day since, just in the morning, I just remind him to leave him in your bed and he goes and does it. And it's been so much smoother than I thought it would be. And then when it's nighttime again, he can have them. But he really, it hasn't been a upsetting or traumatic thing for anyone. It's been going okay so far, and I feel very lucky. So that's my high. That's
great. Do you think kids get orally fixated if they use the pacifier for too long?
Well, it's funny he's not allowed to have it he wasn't allowed to have it at preschool. And at the beginning, he always had his hands near or in his mouth. And then he started smoking, which I thought was weird. And then he started...
Wait, cigarettes or cigars?
Cigarettes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
But now he does dip. Which it's like, you don't notice it right when he walks in, but then he's got that lump in his lip.
The little lump. The Jeff Garland lump.
Yeah, he'll if you have an empty bottle of Coke or something, he'll just just... You don't even
I thought that since he was a kid, he just let it drool out.
Right. Well, I asked him not to.
Yeah.
And now he does this thing where he goes makes all these slurping sounds, which the first couple days Daniel and I were like, what is he doing? It seems as if he's producing extra saliva, but I think he just doesn't know what to do with his lips and mouth right now. So it'll just work its way through his system, but he is making a lot of
he's going to be a great lover, one of the great lovers of his day. Whether he's gay or straight, either way, he is going to be Johnny Oral.
Do you think I should feel proud of that?
I think you're talking about wanting him to have grandkids soon for you, and
yes, he's 3 right now. But yes, soon.
Yeah. My low, as I said, is my kids, both their schools are now not canceled, but online for the fall. So my son will not go to Chicago. Originally, he was going to go to Chicago and get an apartment and go take online classes at his school and then at least be around his friends. And then he realized he's got a really great part-time job that he loves here. And he's got...
What about Club Monaco there?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to hire him back. I don't think there's any clothing stores hiring people. And, all his good friends are online learning as well, so they're staying in L.A. And he's got his own apartment in the back. He's got his own car. He's kind of seeing his girlfriend again from last year, from when he was a senior.
The one that you had announced, it doesn't really have a future. And I was like, you better be careful she doesn't hear this.
I know. Mm-hmm. I know. So they're back, and she's lovely. He's very happy with her. And I think he's just feeling like he's got to decide by tomorrow for certain, because we have to put a deposit on housing if he's going to go to Chicago. But it looks like he's going to stay here. My daughter's going to be at home, which she prefers. She doesn't like school, so she likes learning at home, but I don't think she learns very much. Right. And he's really bad at it. He had no luck at all learning online this past spring.
It's got to be really hard.
I think it's really hard. And so he's going to take less classes, which is fine because he's ahead, because he tested in with Spanish because he'd taken so much Spanish. And I guess his test scores were high enough that he placed out of a bunch of prerequisites.
Done AP classes?
Yeah, he had done a bunch of AP classes. Oh, that's what it is. Yeah. So he's fine with just taking 2 or 3 classes. And, but I feel bad for them both because it's her senior year. This is the year that she should be like doing really great things with her friends and maybe having a boyfriend and going to the prom and, just all those final things from school that she won't have. It makes me very sad.
Yeah. It really makes you wonder, what are the effects of this going to be? Years down the line, what will have happened because of this? I have a friend whose son is supposed to start kindergarten in the fall, and he's not going to. And so
really?
It's like when school, and I don't know, I think his birthday is sort of on the borderline, so she's hoping she can just kind of hold him back for a year and then start the following year. I don't know. It is crazy. Question with Owen and college, how does tuition work? Do you have to pay the full amount?
You have to pay the full amount, yeah, but obviously not housing. And, one thing some kids are doing is just taking the classes at the community college because, let's be honest, the quality of an online experience with one school versus another is pretty negligible.
Right.
And the price difference is tens of thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. So we might look into that, but then part of me feels like we should be supporting his school since he committed to going there. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We got to figure that out.
Yeah, it's really, all of this is so unprecedented. It's really tough. You know what else is tough?
What?
Me trying to figure out what kind of hose storage container to buy.
You constantly talk about that.
It's one of my passions. It's
a touchstone for our generation, they say.
They said it's a touchstone. You play the hand you're dealt.
Yes.
And a lot of good things have happened to me in my life, and there's been some challenges. And one of them is we have a hose. It's just flopping on the pavement right now. And I felt
like that sexually in college.
Yeah. I tried rubbing it. No dice. I went to water some plants, and actually that's not really what I was doing. There's all these like spider webs in the plants, so I was trying to rinse them off. And I pulled the hose, and it just kept, I would get a spray for a minute, and then it would like get a kink, and then I would say, God damn it. And then I would like unkink it. And it's no way to live, Greg. So I said, we need some kind of hose spool. Little did I know, it's really a whole world, and there's no spiritual guide, there's no sensei, there's no Yoda there who says, when you're making the decision regarding hose storage, here's what to look for. So alone, I had to go to a number of sites. I had to read a lot of reviews. And whereas some more well-adjusted person would just be like, who gives a fuck? Just buy one. I was like, no, I really want to make this decision well. So I spent way too much time sorting through all the different options. We now have one on its way. I hope it works out, but I feel unsatisfied. I feel both unsatisfied with what's arriving, and I feel like unsatisfied that I couldn't get a definitive answer about what to buy. You don't ever hear, it's a touchstone for our generation, and yet there's not a lot of literature on what kind of hose storage you want.
No, and it's difficult when you're unsatisfied with your hose because for a lot of men, can I just say something for the sake of our listeners, is that for the last 2 minutes, as you were describing your low, I thought that we were transitioning into a live ad about some kind of hose storage product because I don't always know what the ads are. And you were doing such a great setup for it.
No, it was real passion.
Well, then when you get it, if it's good, then maybe you should reach out to the company and we'll do an ad for them.
Sounds good. Yeah, I know. You'd think it's truly a who gives a fuck. And yet I think because this is my first home, it's kind of recent for us that we're homeowners. There's a lot of decisions that you make as a homeowner, and I want to get it right. Do you happen to know, and I'm sorry, I know no one gives a fuck, except for people who are passionate about hoses. Do you know what your hose storage situation is?
Yeah. You don't want to know what it is?
I do.
It's a rusty piece of metal that hangs off the side of the house, and we twirl it around.
But then when you pull it off of that, does it kink sometimes or no?
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Got to get a spool, my friend. A reel. If ours works, I'll tell you about it.
Okay.
And if the reviews that say sometimes it cracks from the weight of the hose are right, then we're back to square one.
Yeah.
Should we do a voicemail?
Yeah, let's do a voicemail. You got it loaded up?
I sure do.
Let's hear it.
You rang.
Hi, Alison and Greg. This is Valerie. I'm calling from New Mexico. I just want to say that I love both of you guys. I've been a big fan for a few years now. I also listen to Fitz Dog Radio and, all that stuff. I'm a big fan. Anyway, I have a question. My boyfriend and I have been together for about 2 years now, and I'm pretty sure that he's the one. I love him a lot. But I'm at the age, I'm 29 now, and I'm at the age where I want to start thinking about having kids. And he is 5 years younger than me, and I feel like he talks about how he wants to have kids too, but a part of me feels like at his age, I don't think that I would be ready to have kids. And I feel like having kids right now would kind of take away from his quote unquote good years, I guess. I don't know, just like take away some of his fun. So I guess I just want to ask your opinion on that and how you feel about it. Anyway, thank you. I'm a big fan. Talk to you later. Bye.
She specifically name-checked Fitzdog Radio, and then she said, I listen to Fitzdog Radio and all that. So, I don't know about that.
Look, Alison, this is not by any means a competition. This is about Fitzdog Radio being the flagship of Childish. And then the other podcasts are great too.
Right. When I think Alison Rosen is your best friend, I think it's one of the strongest podcasts under the Fitzdog Radio umbrella.
Under the banner. It is under the banner. And
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say this woman's 29.
Yeah. And
which isn't that old to be having a baby. I think that, this is my opinion, buy some time. It's like the clock isn't ticking that hard at 29 that you can't give this guy a couple years. Maybe even if you really feel like he's got to sow his wild oats, let him off the leash for a year. See what he comes back with.
What if he comes back with either like a dead bird in his mouth, like a dog, if you let a dog off the leash, or like another lady
who's pregnant? That would be the ultimate irony. Imagine that, honey.
That is so awful.
I know. You let me. I know you wanted to give me some freedom so I could go out and sow my wild oats, but all I realized was I just wanted a kid,
and so I had to find someone who was ready.
Yeah, right.
I think I agree. If 24, 25 is young for a guy having a kid, but it's also not too young if that's what he wants. I think you need to talk to him and find out what it is that he wants. I think that 29 and 24, 25, those are fine ages. I also think what Greg is saying is right. You're not too old to have a kid by any means, but you don't know whether you're going to be the kind of person where you have sex once and get pregnant probably, given your age, or it might take a little bit of time. So I think she's right to be thinking about it. I think just talk to him, find out where he is.
Find out where he is and just understand that people need to age. There's a reason why you age before you get married, because you need to feel like you got a good deal. And when you're too young and good looking, you feel like your product needs to be brought to a lot of markets.
What do you think happens for the people who are young and good looking and settle down and then they never got to bring their product to market?
It's very rare those will last. Those are not going to last. Good looking people should not marry young. That's if there's one core tenet of Childish, it's that you have to be homely if you're going to get married young.
And if I remember correctly, that message started on the podcast that started it all, Fitzdog Radio.
It started on Fitzdog Radio.
Onto the ones that they're sort of the offshoots, the spin-offs. Your Alison Rosen is your new best friend.
Right. Right. The satellite industries that have sprung up around it. The car talks and such.
Right.
No, I think you got, I don't know what this guy looks like. So if he's homely, lock and load. Say you want a kid, have yourself an ugly baby and move on. But if this guy's good looking, you got to navigate this. You got to sail it like a yacht through some rocky waters.
I don't know if I agree that you should encourage him to sow his wild oats away from you. Unless that's something he's wanting to do, in which case, like, you need to explore where you're at in your relationship. But if he's committed to her, I don't think she needs to be like, hey, go have other girlfriends.
Maybe he's too good looking for her now that I think about it. I think maybe she needs to find somebody. We all do. Don't marry somebody who's too good looking because people are going to try to take them from you. And they're going to get flirted with and they're going to realize there's options. Find someone who has no other options and they'll be so grateful to you.
Yeah, people are constantly going to be like talking to you about your self-esteem.
That's right.
What happened?
And also, you know what? People think it makes them look bad if they're with somebody who's not good looking. No, it makes you look noble.
Charitable. Things that they said about you when they pitied you.
That's right. But in fact,
she might be super hot.
If she's super hot, then she should be able to lock this guy down. I need photos. If she could email us back and send some photos, then I can make a bit more, more educated decision about this.
Yeah, and we're going to need straight on and 3/4.
And body shots.
Yeah. Okay. We have another one.
Hi, Alison and Greg. I was just listening to last week's episode and was interested on Greg's commentary about the English guy calling in and how Greg thought that English people were sort of prudish and stuck up. And as an English person who had lived in the US for a long time, I went to Boston University. I'm always surprised at this stereotype. I think maybe English people or Americans are used to watching sort of old period pieces and consuming old media about knights and ladies and stuff. But in reality, I think that British people are sort of a lot more comfortable with their sexuality and a lot more open and sort of normalizing it. I think part of that is to do with a lot more religion and Christianity. You know, you guys are the Puritans. You guys have a very puritanical mindset that sort of disappeared in England a while ago. So that's all. I just wanted to, maybe when this is all dies down, Greg can pop over to England and meet some normal people and see how much they enjoy sex. Anyway, love the show. Hope this makes sense. Bye.
Well, look, I'd love to pop over to England. How is that? Is that the only way to get to England? Can you only pop?
It's exclusively popping.
Yeah. So if I popped over to England, I don't know how I would find out how much people enjoy sex without, is there road rules? Does she think I live under some road rules situation with my marriage? So, but she went to BU, which is my alma mater. And so I'm sure that if she was sexual, she had a lot of sex there because people have sex at BU. But but no, I think it's true. I probably base it on a lot of the upper crust depictions of England from, your Merchant Ivory Wayne's types movies.
And your Downton Abbeys. What did you say about English people? Do you remember?
Well, look, I don't like the Brits because I'm Irish and they've subjugated our island for about 700 years and they committed a genocide against us in the 19th century. Otherwise, nice people
Who love fucking.
who apparently love to fuck. I mean, I dated a girl when I was in London. I was in London for about 3 weeks when I was 18 and I dated a nurse and we had good hard sex. I was 18 and I just remember, I don't know that we ever went to a restaurant. We just fucked.
Did you get the sense that she was less repressed than her American counterparts?
Yeah, because then I went to Ireland for 3 months and I came back to look her up. She wasn't returning my calls. So I showed up to her apartment and it was actually a dorm. She lived in a dorm. There's like nursing dorms in London. And I went up to her door and there was a note. And it said, Jeremy, I'm in the shower. Get comfortable. I'll be right back.
Oh, no.
And Jeremy wasn't there yet. And I thought to myself, God damn it, if I had a key, I could go in that. First of all, wait for Jeremy.
Yeah.
Tell Jeremy, what the fuck are you doing here? I've been dating Maggie. Blah, blah. Get rid of him. Wait in bed naked. And then see how much the British really like sex.
That could really go well or really not well. Which way do you think it would have gone if you had been naked in her bed when she had left a note for Jeremy?
Alison Rosen, I was a red hot lover back in '84. I think that I had satisfied her. Jeremy wasn't getting near what I was giving her 3 months earlier.
Did you ever get in touch with her again?
Nope.
Do you think she's with Jeremy now?
Nope. I think she was a very highly sexual British woman, like the woman who called us.
I mean, I think what she's saying is right. We do have that puritanical thing.
Yeah. But you're Jewish. Jewish people are very open sexually, I find.
I think we're known to not give. I mean, I think there's a lot of. Look, I grew up on Truly Tasteless Jokes, those books.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of jokes in there about how difficult it is to get a Jewish woman to give a blowjob. And I have found that to be true in my case. So our last 2 episodes had blowjob in the title. It was just coincidence. And Daniel doesn't listen to this show, but he makes the thumbnail image that we use for the episode. And when he saw that it was called like the Prometheus of blowjobs, he goes, he's like, blowjobs again? Do I need to worry about anything? And I said, no. It's a reference to the week before. It's because people wrote in and said that they took Greg's advice and told other people that blowjobs make great gifts or whatever. So Greg, I was like, it has nothing to do with. Anyway. So this
you didn't mention the fact that we've talked in depth about you not giving your husband blowjobs.
I did not mention that. Oh, do you think that was relevant?
And when I say in depth, I'm giving him a lot of credit.
Listen, if you would like to call the show, regardless of where you live and what you think Greg has said about your culture, call 805-317-4243. Again, that is 805-317-4243. If you want to email us, we're childishpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram @childishpod. And when I read the wonderful reviews earlier, I should have mentioned, please leave us a nice review on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars.
All right, so let's read a couple. We've got a lot of emails.
Let's hear some.
Dear Greg and Allison, I love your show so much that I saved up episodes to listen to it on the morning of my wedding on July 4th, 2020. Isn't that nice?
That's wonderful.
I became a single mom while I was in college and didn't begin dating until my son was nearly done with high school. By that, Jesus, that's a fucking long, dry streak.
And imagine kind of learning how to date then. That must be tough.
Imagine being jealous that your son is dating at that point.
Right. But you can learn tips.
By that time, I was in my late 30s and pickings were slim. Most men were either married or bitterly divorced and not ready for a relationship. I met my husband 5 years ago when he purchased the house across the street from mine. You can just picture now the curtains being pulled aside as the
Right.
moving truck pulls up, finger blasting herself, one hand across the curtain.
Oh, you're picturing a different kind of I was with you on picturing the movie, but then yours turned into porn, and mine is still a rom-com.
We initially helped each other with home improvement projects. What is he, Bob Vila? Which then blossomed into a friendship and eventually led to dating and marriage. I am 51, my husband's 47, and neither of us has been married before. We decided to hold a small, low-key ceremony as soon as possible. We'd recently moved to California from North Carolina, so we had no family nearby, very few friends, but we were able to hold a ceremony in our home and transmit it to family and friends via Zoom. It was more fun than we ever imagined it would be. Instead of one venue, we had over 50, with some guests decorating their homes, and our guest attire ranged from bathing suits to tuxedos. Lisa Stefuso.
Well, congratulations, Lisa. I'm glad that we got you through this most important of days.
P.S. Really love Fitzdog Radio. It was the reason why me and my husband got together. He was a big fan. I'm just kidding.
No, it's good that she gives props to the flagship. It's where it all started, you know. That's how you and I originally met, Fitzdog Radio.
Is that how we first met?
No.
No, we met on the old ACS.
Yeah, Adam Carolla show. You were a guest on the show during my audition week.
That's exactly correct.
So it was the very beginning, yeah.
And then I remember talking to Mike August, and he asked me what I thought of you, and I gave you a rave review, 2 thumbs up, which was hard because Teresa Strasser had been before you, and Teresa was really great at her job, but I thought you were just as great, so I endorsed you heavily.
Thank you. Well, maybe I have you partly to thank for my having gotten that job.
And Fitzdog Radio in general.
Just in general it's giving me my life. It's giving me my life back.
It's
I was lost. I was lost and then I was found.
Yeah, I am a Jesus figure. I'm a Brad Pitt / Jesus figure.
Yes, but you're also like your own man. That's what's so great about you.
I'm like a Jesus Brad Pitt with low self-esteem.
Right. Yes.
Another piece of email, Allison. We got so many, but I'm going to hit a few. My dear Greg and Allison, my son turned 18 last year and immediately got a tattoo. He didn't tell me or my wife for a couple of months. It was hard for me to be mad about it because he was 18, officially an adult in Canada. Is 18 an adult in the U.S. or is it 21?
18. You can vote at 18.
It was a small tattoo on his forearm, yes, where the Germans put the numbers on the Jews.
You pointed that out when I said that if I were to get a tattoo, that's where I think I'd want to put it.
It was the prism from the cover of Dark Side of the Moon, my favorite album of all time, which was released 47 years ago, so unlikely to be dated. I think if Owen, JoJo, Elliott, or O2 got tats, they would be typical of their generation. I'm Greg's age. When we were kids, it was sailors and hookers who got tattoos. Now all young people have them.
I think my parents still think of it as sailors and hookers.
Who was?
I think my parents still think of tattoos as sailors and hookers.
Yeah. And it's funny because my daughter ordered this tattoo pen. It lasts for like a few months.
Yes,
and they've been tatting each other up, but I think it's just good because they're trying different spots in their bodies and different designs, and I think it's helping them figure out what they really want, and they can do it when they're 18. And I told you everybody in our family is getting an Irish harp, and that Owen wants me to wait until she's 18, and then we'll all get him at the same time.
I love that.
Should I? Because I kind of feel like doing it now, but I guess I could wait a year, right?
Yeah, I mean, do you? But I think it's sweet the idea of you guys all doing it at the same time together.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll wait a year.
Think that's sweet.
That's
you don't want to be going to a tattoo parlor right now, I don't think.
No, you're probably right. That's from Jim Martell, who's a big fan of ours. Very
Is he
vocal.
mostly a fan of the flagship?
Oh yeah, no, he's a premium member on Fitz Dog Radio, but I know he occasionally dips his toe in the childish waters.
Greg, I think we've done it again.
It's unbelievable how we do it.
Every single time.
We do it every single time.
And they don't think we can, which
And
just fuels us.
And we have never won. There's been times where we get halfway through an episode and I'm out of breath and my throat hurts and I push and I look you in the eye through the Zoom and I can see you looking at me going, "You can do it, Greg.
You can do it." I go, "Dig deep, Greg.
Yeah.
Dig deep."
And then we do another half an hour.
Yeah. And then I count you down and I'm like, in 4, 3, 2, 1, half. And that thing that trainers do. This
Yep.
would have been funnier if I knew you know what I'm talking about, where you think you're done and then they start going fractional on your ass.
Yeah.
I do that.
That's not cool.
I don't know. It's not. I feel like they're breaking the contract that they have with you. As their
Oh,
trainee.
totally. I mean, I get angry. I had a trainer once for one session, and I was like, fuck this. I don't need this guy playing mind games, judging me. If I hired a trainer, first of all, you got to hire someone who's big and buff because the proof's in the pudding, right?
Yeah, right.
But at the same time, when they're that big, you feel judged by them the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I need somebody to train me who is a fat fucking weakling, because then he's not going to push me that hard because he never pushed himself that hard.
Right. That's interesting. I wonder if you could find one of those. An unfit trainer.
I think so. My son does it now. I train with my son, and he pushes me much too hard.
Let him listen to this.
Right.
So once again, we've done it again. Despite
Yep.
your lack of training, we've done it again because
Yep.
it's an innate skill. Greg, what would you like to plug?
Well, I don't know if I need to plug Fitz Dog Radio. I think people are pretty aware of it.
If they're
But-
here, they're aware of it. It's the flagship.
But the other satellite show is the Sunday Papers, which I do with Mike Gibbons on Sundays. We read the newspaper section by section. Check it out. Also, if you want to grab yourself a Grapefruit Simmons t-shirt, go to fitzdog.com, pick them up. We just got a new shipment. And the Patreon. I will, not Patreon, what do you call it?
Cameo.
Cameos. I'll read you a message on Cameo.
Do you say to Mike, we've done it again?
Never.
Okay.
Although, Howard Stern always said to his guests, well, we've said it all.
He got that from us.
I think he did 21 years ago.
He got it from us 21 years ago. He changed it, made it his own.
Yeah.
Listen, you can hear me on Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. The show that Fitz Dog Radio started. If anyone's listening for the first time and knows nothing, this is not true. It's a fiction we're saying to make Greg feel better. So listen to Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. When you heard this last week, I've been really interested in telling stories or sharing stories of people who have experienced loss and have had to rebuild. And I interviewed a woman who had a spine injury and completely lost the ability to walk. And then while she was recovering from that, she had this rare side effect from medication, almost died. And just like very crazy, tough story, was living in a rehab facility, but throughout it all has had this really enviable, positive attitude, which I'm amazed by because I think I would just be angry and feel sorry for myself. So her name's Sarah Ellis, had a very interesting conversation with her. Listen to that. My show is not always serious. Actually, there's lighthearted moments in that one. But anyway, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Alison Rosen. Follow my Patreon, patreon.com/Alison Rosen. And I'm also on Cameo.
Nice. All right, Alison, I'll talk to you very soon. I can't wait.
Same. Thank you for listening, everyone.
I'm Greg Fitzsimmons.
I'm Alison Rosen.
And we are
Childish.
Childish.